is that your ult usage and not saving it all game was pretty good. I liked how you kept on thinking, like when you had your ult, right? I liked how you just kept on thinking like, when is the next perfect moment for me to use this ult? And even though there was one or two ults that weren't perfect, I did like how you just kept on farming ults over and over. Another good point was your gravity was nice, but as you'll see later on, you shouldn't have been there in the first place for her to set that up. And the general concept I want you to kind of think of for this entire VOD is the thought of like space, or like the effective range that the heroes you're playing against. You're gonna be playing against a lot of Reinhardt and Zarya's in this meta from like diamond and below, so you have to learn the effective range of them. So let's imagine this, right? This is the Reinhardt, right? And this is the Zarya. So Zarya, her effective range is kind of like this, right? This is her beam range. And she can, of course, she can throw out right clicks, but it doesn't really matter too much to you. But with Reinhardt, his effective range is like here. This is where his melee range is, right? And this is going to be somewhere like you. Your effective range is actually a little bit longer than Zarya's range. And then this is the range you want to be at. Right where your balls are exploding. This is the range you want to be at almost all the time. When you're facing against Rein or Zarya. Rein and Zarya, Rein or Zarya. Because if you don't have your shield, then you get beamed down by Zarya. If you're within this range of Reinhardt, you're pretty much almost always dead unless he messes up and he allows you to rock you. Even though it's a lot more, I'm pretty sure you think it's much easier for you to get into like closer range for you to actually hit these shots. Try and keep in mind how you can manipulate your exploding hitbox and the way you can bounce off things. An example would be doing this. Let me get into game. One way you can exploit it is by bouncing it off floors. Okay. So imagine you're over here, right? And then you wanna get back here. So one way you can do it is you can either back up so that you're in range for your balls to explode, like right above them, or another way is for you to just bounce it off the floor and back into them. Bouncing into the floor is like it shortens your range a little bit. So this is just math class, I guess. I don't know. If you do it forward, it'll be the max range, right? But if you bounce it and do it like this, it's kind of like a triangle. So you're just shortening the range a little bit. You'll get to know the Sigma range as you keep on playing the hero, but it's just something you have to get used to. And you always want to be in the like either the exploding distance or the range that is easier for you to get I don't know, your melee cancels along with your balls. Okay. And then as we go into game, now let's imagine this, right? What IG would rather you have doing is set up over here. The reason being is that you can actually spam into the cart from a safe range and at a range where the Reinhardt or the Zarya can't do anything. But by being here, all you're doing is just staring at them and just shooting for your team. And that's not something you want to do when you're playing ranked. You want to be being the playmaker. You don't want to be the one supporting your team unless you think it's necessary and you think it's gonna help your team more than your own individual play. Okay. And you'll see it right here. You're basically useless in this entire first phase of the point. But if you're right where the ball is right now, you'll be able to help your team and just keep on building that overcharge. I did like how you checked back there, but most of the time you can just hear it with your headphones. And then now, look at this. Imagine if you're up here to help your team, right? You'll either rock this Sigma or either take the charge for him. But because you're over here, all you're doing is really nothing, right? The fight was already over before you even did anything. Nice rock. Right. See, look at this. This is what happens when you're in Zarya's effective range and without your shield, right? She basically eats you alive. You can't do anything against it. That's unfortunate, but it happens. Hey. The only problem I have with you is the amount of time that you let your shield time be down. So you saw the shield like available for you to use to protect your team. But for some reason you kept it up for so long. Just keep on remembering to just bring it back whenever you're not using it. Like right around here. This would be a moment where I would just like, just in case that your Ana gets like, I don't know, triple headshot, you don't want to take that risk, right? So you want to minimize the amount of risk as possible as Sigma. And this is the exact range you kind of want to be if you didn't have to contest cart, because what you'd from this range, what you can do is you can stand over here, and you can like aim above the Reinhardt shield or aim into their team at a range where your balls perfectly explode and you don't have to rely on your aim to get direct headshots or direct shots, I mean, onto their body. Whenever you can set those angles up is always very nice at Sigma, because it's like the balls are doing the aiming for you. Very nice. And of course, I'm pretty sure you know this already, but don't use your hands against Zarya because it's not doing anything, right? Just use your shield. And another thing you could have done is you could have gone around this cart and just hit it away from her. And just kept on like moving around it until you waited for your shield cooldown to come back up. Why didn't you kill this Genji right here? Did you just forget about him? What are you going to do against this Reinhardt? You're just going to shoot his 1600 HP shield, right? It's not really doing much. This is another moment where you just let your shield die for no reason, right? I like this ult usage, but there was one moment where I thought it would have been a little bit more better, and I'll show you the moment when. Right here. Look at this, right? So, ideally you want to bait out the Zarya bubble so that she isn't able to negate your half HP. And then this would be probably catch 4 people right here. And I don't think the Zarya probably even has team bubble right now. Let me check that. I mean, it's coming up, but even if she bubbles someone, this would be able to swing your make some space for your team to actually like deal with this Reinhardt all by himself, or even this Genji. So even though you did have good ult later on, that would be a moment where I would think is a better moment. One other thing you want to do when possible is you want to minimize the amount of time that you're shooting at Reinhardt shields, because you don't really do much to Reinhardt shields and you could do much more just by pressing the DPS. So if you look over here, after you get this ult off, you had a moment right here. I don't know if you heard it, but Ash was to your right. So at this moment, you can try and be pressuring out the Ash instead of shooting a 1600 HP shield, which you're not going to break anytime soon, right? And look, even the Ash got even the Ash got value out of it when you could have been forcing her out. And then you'll see here why you don't want to be in Reinhardt's and Zarya's range at the same time, right? You basically got ran over. It's kind of lucky that you didn't die here, but good luck. Good job anyways. Good. Not good job, but you can see the idea, I guess. Because Reinhardt basically runs you over anytime he's in your range, and you'll get to learn that as you go higher up in the ranks. Okay. So I do like how you start off high ground here, because it's always good to flesh out high ground in Sigma, and you always have a better angle. Because the reason is that it's easier for you to manage your range of your balls. Because if you shoot directly down, even if you don't directly hit them, the range, you're basically already at your max distance, so it'll pop up a little bit and it'll explode. And you can keep on like manipulating your distance by either going back or forward in a way so that you can even if you don't direct hit them, you can make the AoE explode onto them. Okay. And it's pretty good that you stayed up here because you were able to flush out the Ash, but I would have stayed longer if I were you. I like how you keep on looking behind you, but you have to kind of think that you have to keep track of where the enemy team is just purely by sound. Because I don't know if you heard it, but even just by hearing stuff, you can hear that everyone's right in front of you. And even though I know you probably know that there's probably there might be a McCree flank top right, it's something that you can't really do against, even if you're even if you knew about it. All you'd be able to do is just shield it. So if anything, you can just look quickly back and forth like this if you think that they're doing that flank. Small thing, put up your shield before you use your shift, unless you absolutely need your shield, just for the extra protection. See, and now look how easy it is. You're basically at the perfect range at a point where they're basically in your hands, where even if you don't direct hit them, they're in your AoE damage. But look how much harder you make it on yourself as you go closer up to them, right? Look at how difficult this is. Even though you get these direct hits, it's much more harder than you're making it. Don't be in this range, please. He's got 85 swing 85 swing hammer. Good rock. Don't be in the range, please. You just took 150 HP just because you decided to go against a Reinhardt in close range. When ideally, what you should have been doing is just staying back here and just being at your max range so you can explode your balls. And not only that, it's also easier to block shatters when you're from farther range because of the travel distance. Travel distance, you know. It's like, I'm pretty sure I probably don't have to visualize this, but I'll just do it just in case. So if Reinhardt is shattering just how he did like right here, and you're this spot right here, this travel distance is like, I don't know, you have to rely purely on either prediction basically. But as this is Reinhardt and then this is you, as it goes further and further away, this is the point where you can rely more and more on like reaction time. This should be like reaction time or something like that. I don't know. But you see how like there's a travel distance, right? So as you're further and further away, you have more and more opportunities for you to block the shatter based on reaction time. Small thing, you want to be pushing your advantage when you're down, when you're already up to. You don't really look behind you. You can just keep on pushing these stragglers and just killing them, which is what your Moria does for you. Don't do this because you can just die instantly. Either just back up over here, or I don't know, don't drop down, basically. This is something you won't get punished at the lower ranks, but as you go higher up, this will be something you will get punished for. Again, you make it harder. Look how much harder it is. Your balls explode here, but if you're back here, you'll be able to be at the perfect distance where you can either hit over here, hit up here, or even bounce it this way and into them. Always look for these opportunities to either bounce your balls around instead of looking for dark hits, because dark hits are hard. I really like this ult. But if I were you, I would have imagined that if I were you, then what I would have done after I got that off is I would slowly traveled up here. And I already mentioned earlier why high ground is good. Not only that, it just gives you a better vantage point of the entire situation. But maybe you plan this and you want to try eat the graph. Only thing is that you don't really need to eat the grab, I feel like. Because the only people they would really catch it is the ball and the mercy, and probably not even a mercy if I was in that situation. Yet again, imagine if this is a Reinhardt or something. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep on pointing these moments out just so you get these stuck in your head. Great eat, but I don't know. This is a great eat, but you probably know what I was going to say. You didn't need to beat up in the first place. Another thing that you have in Sigma's Arsenal is that you can try and catch the grab with your shield. It's just another chance thing that you might be able to do if you plan it out. So like if you're over here, this is you, and this is Zarya. If Zarya tosses the graph, but you toss out your shield, and it catches right over here, then the graph gets catched over here. So even more of a incentive for you to be all the way back here, you know? Not including the amount of travel time for the graph to go through for you to react to it. Because I'm pretty sure that was just pure prediction right there. which is good. But of course, always minimize the amount of risk or the amount of chances that you give the enemy team. If I were you, I would path up high ground because it will give you more options, because you can either drop down or you can just stay up here and clear out the high ground. Because the monkey, if you're up here, you'll be able to contest the monkey and either force him out towards his team, or he's going to try to take the 1v1 against you, and then most of the time you win that battle unless you miss too much of your left clicks. But I don't think you would miss a lot of your left clicks because your aim seems pretty decent from what I see. Just replay. Come on. Alright, there. Look at where you're at right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then at any moment they can all turn on you and basically instantly kill you, right? You always want to be at a position that you're basically have everyone in front of you. Reason being, you can eat in front of you, you can shield in front of you, you can always just back up. But what are you going to do here? You either have to fight your way through someone and hope they just ignore you, or you just die, I guess, or you just outplay them. But I don't think you outplay 5 people at Sigma unless you have your ult. But I think they just ignore you. So this would be another moment where I would have might have ulted. The reason why is because most of the team has already burned most of their resources. You even saw Zarya burn her personal bubble, so you'd get an instant, I don't know, 50% health off of her. And not only that, look how grouped this is, right? You'd probably be able to get a lot of people, even 4 or 5 people. And then also give your team time to either group up or get some kills, you know. The reason, and I don't like this ult because 2 of your teammates have already died, and not only that, their cooldowns has basically been refreshed, so they're able to just survive this with really no problem. And look at that, more even faded out of it. All you got was 1 person. And then this would be another moment where after you got that flux, you could have gotten high ground. And you wouldn't have even gotten either Mora beamed or Mercy ulted and shot down. Another moment, right? This is a perfect distance at which your balls explode. But you make it much more harder on you by doing this. Great aim. If I were you, I would put up a shield against that Ashe, just in case the Ashe randomly headshot someone. Another thing you could have done after you put up that shield against the Ashe is you could have just thrown a left click at her, to your left clicks at her, just so you pressure her out, or either somehow manage to get 2 direct hits and kill her. You always want to pressure out the DPS because they're the playmakers. Unless of course it's a full charge Zarya. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find those moments. If not, you can always ask me. Alright, same thing right here. You have to be playing in your effective range, and you don't want to be playing in their effective range. You want to make it seem as if the Reinhardt is basically just shield botting all game and not doing anything, because you're basically always out of his range. But you'll see the problem as you rewatch this. This is a good range. What I've done instead is just focus out this crack right here. Because, as always, you don't want to be focusing the Reinhardt shield when possible. Of course, unless it's in your free time. Good here. You definitely could have killed her right here if you threw out your left clicks. You could also cancel your E. Cancel your shift with your E just so you can try and kill her. I'm guessing you're trying to eat the nade, but it would probably be better just for you to burst her down. A good position for you to be in as Sigma is either over here, or kind of over here. The only thing about staying on this side is that it's kind of hard to navigate your balls around the payload and the walls. But when you're over here, you have the freedom of having being able to reach over here or over here, and just pressing either of those 2 points out. But as you're over here, the only thing you can really do is either pressure the cart or kind of snake your balls in a way that pressure over here. You can't really contest up here because you don't really have the range. Good rock. The thought of it at least. And not only that, look at what the soldier did. If you're over here, you'd be able to be contesting the soldier, so he wouldn't be able to go on this flank. But since your entire team grouped up over here, it just lets the flanks open, and your team is basically surrounded, right? So you want to be the one that's protecting the flank. Another DPS that can do it is either probably Tracer or someone like that, or another tank is Zarya, because you can just beam them down and force them away with your pure damage. But with Sigma, you're able to do that with your shields, your rock, your kill potential with your rock plus melee combo. So yeah. Look at that. What did your eat do? Really nothing, right? Because Zarya just beat me down through it. And maybe you can make the argument that you're trying to eat the graph, right? But imagine this. Imagine you're over here and Zarya's over here, and you just keep on spamming left clicks at her at a range at which she's not able to get her left clicks in range, and she only has to rely on her right clicks. Yet again, this is a moment where you can rely on your reaction time plus the distance traveled to either cast a grab with your shield or eat it with your shift. But as you get closer, all Zarya has to do is just keep on beaming you down and left clicking you. And the only way you would eat this grab is if she decided to just feed in, just troll and just queue into your shift. You don't really use shift against Torb ults because they're able to spread it out in a wider range, and also most of them just do it one at a time because you don't actually have to use your turbo out all at the same time. You can hold on to it and just spread it out in like short bursts. Good job on this. But why did you leave it? Look at what your team is doing right now. Your team is fighting against a Torb and a 1v2, and kind of even more, right? Like everyone's looking at them. The only person that isn't looking at them is the Zarya and the Reinhardt, but the Zarya is probably going to turn towards the McCree. And I'm glad you realized your mistake. Look at this. What happens when you're Reinhardt's range? You just die. So what you should have done is after that rock, you should have just fully backed up. Kept on backing up, because Reinhardt is never going to be able to touch you if you rock him. Most of the time, unless you have speed boost on him. So that's like the last resort if Reinhardt's on you. You rock him, hope he doesn't block with his shield, and just back up. Good job. Nice. Another moment where you didn't really need to go in melee range, but that's fine because you're just trying to clean up. At this moment, you should just keep on pushing up. What you keep on doing is doing exactly what the Sin is doing, and keep on trying to cast stragglers in a way that you're able to stagger the team. So what I would have done is I would have gone up here and either stay up here or stay up here. If you stay up here, you're in a range where you can just basically get the exploding balls, or either bounce it off here and get the exploding balls. It just basically gives your team a chance to get stagger kills. And stagger kills are everything at lower ranks because it buys you time. It's 10 seconds to get 10 or 8 seconds to get respawned, and it's not even counting the time it takes to walk back. So I like this right here. But you saw how hard it was, kind of. So what you could have done instead of pushing up this far is right here. What I would have done is just stay around this corner and just keep on spamming those left clicks. Because you're at a range where, of course, they're in your effective range, but they're not in their effective range. And because you pushed up here, right here, look at where you're at. You're in the middle of nowhere, with no cover on you, with a Zarya beaming down on you. You have no shift to even hope to catch any cooldowns. It's basically asking, it's basically telling the team just to kill you, you know? Well, if you're around this corner, you have the natural cover, and you can also just back up around this corner, and you can just cut the sight lines. I like the idea. You're helping your McCree. You basically broke the rule of every single thing I thought I told you, right? You're in Reinhardt's range, you're in the middle of the team. You're in Zarya's range. You're basically asking to get killed once again. Of course, ideally what you have done instead is just stay up this high ground and it's maybe gotten over here, because this is a pretty easy this is a much more easier vantage point for you to blast their either the back line or the front line. But if you're over here, you don't really have that. You're kind of relying on direct hit shots from up here, or even just bouncing it from this wall. You would have died even without that chatter. One thing, try to hold back on burning down Zarya's bubbles at the beginning of the fight. You're just giving your unnecessary energy. It's fine to do it during the fight if you think that you're able to burst the bubble and catch her out in the middle of nowhere. Good grab. But yet again, this is a moment where I'm pretty sure we've gotten this over 3 times already. Yet again. Go high ground, please. Don't be in the middle of their team, please. Be in your effective range, don't be in their effective range. Because if you went high ground, you would have been able to contest that soldier, so he wouldn't have gotten this ult in the first place. A small thing, charge out of spawn. It's just a cooldown that you can use to get faster in the fight. You realize the second time, always remember it. Use cooldowns, move cooldowns. And right now you're playing as if you're playing Sigma. The right way to do it. You're at a perfect range where you can just spam the shield or either go above it. I won't be talking about your Reinhardt play, because we're talking about your Sigma play. But oh. Good block. When you're extremely low, you don't want to be in your fire strike animation, or if you're stuck in an animation that you can't cancel and you nearly died for it. When you're in close range, what you're gonna do is you want to fire strike cancel by left clicking and then Eing right after. It's an animation cancel that you can do just for a short burst of damage. Good shatter. But ideally you have caught the Zarya in it too. You could probably done it just by, you know, aiming it a little bit, but it's fine. Alright. Overall, I'm pretty sure you notice some repeating occurrences that you're able to fix, hopefully, in your next upcoming matches. So just to review, always be in your effective range and try not to be in their effective range. It's pretty easy to visualize with Reinhardt, with Zarya, with Winston, because their ranges are pretty relatively short and your range is naturally longer than theirs. What else? Try to play at a distance yet again, where you can rely more on reaction time to block shatters, or to eat grabs, or to catch grabs or shield. Always look to either take high ground or think about where you want to go when you're flying in your ult. Because I do like how you use your ult, the timing that you use it most of the time, but you need to think about where you want to go after you use ult. And if you have any other questions, you can either just DM me directly or message me on the VOD review or anywhere on the Overwatch University Discord. Yeah, that's all. Good job.